Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to the 10 Lions podcast. I'm your boy, Jalani Lion. This is episode 75. In this episode, we will be talking about Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is the topic of discussion because recently he addressed the Kevin Hart roast on the Breakfast Club. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you can see, it's a solo dolo episode. So yeah, good vibes for sure. Uh what is it called? Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. I feel like I may have said this before in a different episode, but that's how you know it's true if I'm repeating it. Do it even if it's difficult. Do it even if it is difficult. Uh no matter what type of job you have or what type of obstacle or goals you have, do it even if it is difficult. I think that ties in perfectly with like growth doesn't happen when you are comfortable. Um, so yeah, like I did another bike ride yesterday. And it was difficult. But I know that I want to get in shape, get back in shape, get my body right. And thankfully for me, it really doesn't take too much. You drink some water, you go on bike rides, maybe do some jump ropes and push-ups, whatever the case it be is, but it starts clicking after a while. But yeah, that's for anybody. That's for anything. That's for your health. That's for eating right. That's for being a parent. That's for your job. A lot of people are working jobs there are people that have goals, dreams, and aspirations, but they cannot fully commit to them because they need to work a 9 to 5. Totally understand that. That was me for a long time. Um, and you need to do that. If that's where you are in your life right now, that's what you need to do. Stack up, work your 9 to 5. I was a server making tips, off serving people, being a waiter and whatnot. But that wasn't always easy. That wasn't always fun, but it was necessary in my journey. So, like I said, do it even if it's difficult. And your growth doesn't happen when you are comfortable. I think that was fire. I think that was fire words with it. But yeah, we gotta get into Kevin Hart and what's going on with men's. Let me say that Kevin Hart is my guy. He is such an inspiration in the fact that just in the way that he's created success for himself, generational wealth for his family, putting everyone in position around him and whatnot. So it's like, I understand the backlash, but hopefully with dissecting these clips from him addressing the Kevin Hart roast and the negatives of the Kevin Hart roast, um, I'll be able to say what he wouldn't be able to say, but also like still hold him accountable because obviously after addressing the backlash, a lot of people are still like, what the fuck, Kev? Um, so let's tap into that. Let's see what we can pull up for this Kevin Hart addressing uh Kevin Hart roast. More specifically, Tony Hinchcliffe's portion of the Kevin Hart roast. Um, all right, so I gotta share the screen. It's switch, that'd be cool. I mean, yeah, where you at? I won't switch. All right, so share the screen. Boom. Share the screen. Uh, let's see my stuff. Boom. All right, so I got the clips lined up. got a couple doubles, but I personally don't care to go over. I guess I will. I guess I will. Maybe at the end. I more so care about Kevin Hart's clips in this. I'm missing one too. So I gotta go. We go here. Boom. First club. I was missing one. Well, maybe I'm not. I mean, I know I am. Finally, the there's only two. There's only two clips. Okay. Let's go with the first clip.
Wasn't a tasteful joke to our culture, to our audience, but our audience that's watching the roast, if you're watching the roast, you get why they're doing it. You get why the racial humor is on the table. Like, it's not, I wasn't shocked. Like, that's what they do. Go look at the Tom Brady one. Like, that's what they do. It happens every year when they do a roast. It's not new. This isn't a new, it's not a new agenda. It's not a new approach to comedy.
Do you feel like Tony Hinchcliffe?
All right, let's break it down, and then we'll play
It's Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, I don't like.
First thing he did say is that the joke was distasteful, talking about the George Floyd joke by Tony Hinchcliffe. So he did off rip. He does say it's distasteful. That's not the majority of what he's saying. And I think that's the problem, is that that's not the majority of what he's saying. The majority of what he's saying is that it's a roast. It's a part of roast. This is what is a part of a roast. And yes and no, Kev, because it was your roast. It was the Kevin Hart roast. George Floyd has nothing to do with Kevin Hart. So I think that's the major thing. And I think that's something that you should have addressed. And when you were addressing this, if you were going to say it's distasteful, you should have then said it had nothing to do. You should have stood on that more so than standing on the fact that it's a roast. This is what happens with a roast, and it's comedy, and like no one's really trying to hear that because of the severity of the situation. And then he goes on to say, I don't know if it's in this clip, that they were talking about his dead mother, his dead father. That is, again, that's more about you than George Floyd. Your mom, your dad, in the scheme, in the thought process of a roast, that makes sense for a comedic roast, to talk about the person who's getting roasted, their family. Okay, got it. Makes sense. George Floyd makes no sense. Trayvon Martin makes no sense. Sandra Bland makes no sense. Breonna Taylor, all those people don't make no sense to be involved in a Kevin Hart roast. And I think if you were going to address it, you should have addressed, like, that's partially what you should have said. That Tony Hinchcliffe was out of bounds, and it didn't even, it wasn't relevant to what you put together. Let's keep watching.
I don't expect less. I don't expect more.
I feel like you're saying going too far is the point. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes, I mean,
okay.
That's why you're there. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to, because we're being honest. people are talking about that joke. Talk about his set. Tony Hinchcliffe arguably had the best set or one of the best sets between Tony and Cheryl.
See, now that's the
And
part
I would
also
say
where it's kind of
Naeem
nasty.
had a really strong
Naeem
set.
had a very strong set.
I watched the roast, so I do get what he said, but you're also missing the point. Tony Hinchcliffe, as a from a comedic standpoint, as a comedian, as a comedy lover, or as a person watching, as an audience, Tony Hinchcliffe had a good set up until the George Floyd joke. I think the George Floyd joke was like the last thing he said. Like, it was so unnecessary. So we're not talking about how good of Tony Hinchcliffe's set was. We're not talking about how good of a comedian Tony Hinchcliffe is. And I don't even think he's necessarily a good comedian. I think he happens to be good for roasts or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. You're kind of shifting the focus of what the problem is when you say, well, we're talking about his joke, but he had a really good set. Like, and again, Kevin Hart is my guy. So that's why this is like, I'm not on the bandwagon of bashing him. Some people are saying he needs to be canceled, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just see that he could have handled this better. I think he's frustrated with it because obviously he's getting a lot of the heat for it because it was his roast and he didn't say anything. He was laughing at the joke. Like, there's different reasons why he's getting it. He's being held accountable and responsible. But I just feel like it could have been addressed better and less like, okay, but look at this, look at that, look at like no, the problem is Tony Hinchcliffe was out of line at your roast with that joke. Everyone was, you're not in the same perspective. Everyone is out of line at a roast when they're roasting the person who's there to be roasted. It was out of line towards your whole community, the Black community. Let's keep watching.
I was laughing out loud at Tony until that.
Until the joke.
But not even just that joke. I don't like when people joke about violent, tragic death. I like Pete's set, and then I was like, oh, why you had to say anything about Charlie Kirk?
Pete had a great set too. Pete had a Charlie Kirk joke in there. Like, would I tell those jokes? No. But do I get
this
why
is another thing that I hate about the comparison between Charlie Kirk and George Floyd. Pete is not under fire because he had a Charlie Kirk joke. Because Charlie Kirk did not die because Charlie Kirk was not killed because he was white. Charlie Kirk, he was paid for, and the whole thing he was known for was spreading hatred and bigotry and gun violence, and just, it didn't matter if you were Black, Latino, a woman, trans, the whole 9 yards. So that is why Charlie Kirk ended up being assassinated. George Floyd, yes, he was convicted of crimes in the early 2000s, but nothing George Floyd did was why he was killed in the street by a police officer. The two don't even need to be compared. The only similarity that they have is that they were both killed, not why they were killed.
That's what I know what you're going to do. I know your style of comedy.
Did you see the interview that I did with George Floyd's brother?
No.
So he said,
no shot to you.
No, that's good.
I'm never watching
that. That's fine.
I just want to be clear. I'm never watching that.
Like, I only brought it up.
Even now that you told me, I'm not going to go back and go look at that interview.
Because he's a.
Okay. I didn't find at first when I saw his response to Lauren's interview. Is it Lauren or Laura? It's either Lauren LaRosa or Laura LaRosa. I think it's Lauren LaRosa. His response to that, people thought was distasteful. I know that to be Kevin's, like, that's his comedic way. Like, that's him making a joke about something. It's really, like, he even says, it's not a shot to you, blah, blah. Like, it's just like, so I feel like a lot of things are being taken out of context because he's under fire. Let's keep watching.
I just asked because he's a fan of you. He saw the joke and it picked up pretty big. So I didn't know if you saw it, but he basically said, like, as a fan of you and knowing that you came to the funeral to support his family, even though it's a roast and Tony, that's what he does, they expected you to kind of be the person that would, like, stop it right in the moment or just not allow for certain things to happen.
And he also said he wanted you to come harder. He said if they're going to joke, why you ain't come harder?
All right, let me pause it right there. Right, that is a good. This is actually a good. I feel like that's a good take.
Good thing to give.
Because Kevin Hart, not that he needed to stop it right there, he could have stopped it right there. He could have at least addressed it right there. But one thing that Cheryl Underwood did when she got the mic was she addressed Shane Gillis for overstepping or whatever. Like she checked him. So Kevin Hart, once he got the mic, because he got the mic at the end of the roast and was ending up roasting everybody, blah, blah, that could have been the perfect time for you to address it. Like, hey, that was distasteful, especially since you apparently went to George Floyd's funeral. It's just like, you wouldn't even be addressing this now. Like, you wouldn't even be under fire had you addressed it when it happened or when you got the mic. It's just like, there things could have happened to stop, to prevent this type of backlash.
Rebuttal to.
See, then they talked
about my dead mom and my dead dad. Said that they were running a train on my mom, and
that was hilarious,
right?
It was that was crazy.
Yeah, that was Regina killed that,
right?
Oh wait, that's right. You probably should say killed that.
The jokes about Kevin was on a slave ship in a bottle with like the ship in the bottle. Like, I'm going to appreciate humor. I don't get affected.
So two things
by the attempt of humor. I get
those jokes are about you. And if they're talking about your mom, they're talking about your dead dad, your dead mom, your dead dad, like, and you sign up for a roast, like, you can that makes sense in the grand scheme of a roast. There's only so much you can say about Kevin Hart. You then needed to talk about his family tree or whatever. And either way, it goes back to you. Like, it's a joke about your mom and your dad that ultimately is a joke about you. Joking about George Floyd has nothing to do with Kevin Hart. So it's like, again, you're like using that as like, see, they talked about my dead people. What's the problem with them talking about George Floyd? Like, they're not in the same conversation. And you're saying it was you appreciate humor. It wasn't funny. It wasn't a funny joke. His joke was that George Floyd is looking up at us and laughing so hard that he can't breathe. Not funny. Like, even now, it was not a funny joke.
This case, like, do more. It's my production. We're live. The more is what? Like what is it that you expect me? You want me to take a live production and stand up and fight Tony or have a reaction? Like Tony told a joke. It wasn't a tasteful joke to us.
So
We didn't like
that's
it.
really
Okay. Hey
what
man, fuck
your
that joke.
energy
We
should
move
be
on.
about,
I don't.
Kev, is that it was not a distasteful joke. I didn't like the joke. Nobody like all you'd have to, if you just kept saying that, or if you kept like on that thought process that the joke was distasteful rather than saying like it's comedy and they joked about my people and this is how it goes. It's a roast. Like you're making light of them. Tony Hinchcliffe joking about a black man dying from police brutality that you went to his funeral for. Like you went and supported his family, and you're like that's what I'm saying. You're making light of something that you more than anybody, or you more than anybody on the stage, should be like, that's not funny. That's not a joke. What are you doing? Like it was the perfect alley oop to take a stand and represent yourself well, represent black people well. And it's not like Kevin Hart doesn't do that. Like, so that's why it's tough, because Kevin Hart does represent himself well. Kevin Hart does represent black community well overall for the majority of the time. But it's just like, you would not be under fire right now if you didn't take this, if you took the stand that you should have took, especially it being your shit. Like you basically allow, like it's one thing if you weren't there or something like that. It's Kevin Hart, presented by Kevin Hart or whatever. But you were right there. It's your shit. Everyone's there for you. It's your production. What, like you more than anyone could have been like, yo, fuck that guy. That's not okay. I don't accept, agree, or stand with that.
I don't understand why we stand on a hill and it becomes like this big thing of like, oh man, the motherfuckers, they do this and they're attacking the culture. It doesn't have to be that. It literally is either you're a fan of this level of content or you're not. And if you're not a fan, then you don't watch it. So my last note for all attached to this is very simple. Okay. Whatever the headlines or whatever the dialogue is, my rebuttal is simplicity. Remove me from it. I didn't say it. If you are upset that the night went on, that's a different conversation. It's nothing I can do. It's a production. It's a live production. I'm not compromising the live production for a reaction of what? What do you want me to do? I'm going to drag him off? You want me to fight afterwards? You want me to turn it into like what? That's not what I agreed to do. That's
Two things.
The job at hand was to produce a successful
if
roast,
Tony Hinchcliffe was dragged off, that would have been, I think everyone and their mom would have applauded that. So not a bad idea. Two, can't remember the first thing he said that it wasn't his joke. It was Tony Hinchcliffe's joke. It wasn't Kevin Hart's joke. Valid. That is another stance that you should have, or thought process that you should really be speaking towards, rather than belittling the situation. If you would have stuck with the joke was distasteful, and I did not say the joke, I don't want anything to do with the joke or whatever, it makes it gives people less room to be like, okay, he's saying this is a part of comedy. This is comedy. If you don't like it, don't watch. Like, like you're giving more fuel. Are we freaking joking? Oh, oh, I had to take a phone call. Don't remember the last thing I was saying, but let's keep on keeping on.
I also got the rebuttal. I also got to say shit at the end. What are we dealing with here? I'll say it again. Stop talking as if I said it. So when you say
you didn't disrespect the family, Kev, but you also didn't stand up for the family
when it happened.
Like you didn't like. Again, Kevin, I respect Kevin Hart. He's like, I have a good amount of respect for Kevin Hart. So I just think this was a blunder, and he's also got a lot of money. When you got a lot of money, shit, a lot like maybe things that are problems or issues to you and I may not be the biggest of problems and issues to a guy that's got a lot of money. But again, doesn't matter who you are, if you're a person and you mess up or whatever, you deserve to address it, but you also deserve to be held accountable. I think Tony Hinchcliffe, way more than Kevin Hart, should be being held accountable. But yeah.
Made sure that the family felt supported, made sure that all things there were actually cool. Behind the scenes, just as an example, you know the one person that I talked to, and I'm not even gonna tell you the conversation, Stephen Jackson.
Oh, I know he caught that.
That's because that's my nigga.
Yeah.
Hey, Stack, let me just call you, man, so I can explain to you like the world of the roast, X, Y, and Z. We talked. I get it, Kev. We had a great conversation. But that's what I mean when I say, hey, man, let me call the one person after. And that's before whatever you're talking about. That's immediate. Stack, hey, Tony threw one out there. It's this and this, but you do know that that's what this shit is. It's a roast. But I just want you to know from my side, that man is on his own.
You ain't lead with that, Kev. You should have been leading with that the whole time.
I don't need to.
People just want to know you care.
I don't fucking need to prove to people that I give a fuck.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Just this time. This one time.
No.
Yes, this one.
No. If you open that door, then that's the door that people expect all the time. Why the fuck do I need to do that?
I think it's because of how much the George Floyd situation affected so many people. I think I get what you're saying and how you stand on your business, and I respect you for that.
I'm not standing on my business.
Or whatever it is. I think with certain things.
Not say it.
But their pushback is it happened at Kevin Hart's roast. Kevin Hart, who is like, he's out, like, so many of us support you. You're ours.
They just want to hear you say. Okay, I just want to hear you say what you said today. It's tasteless. You actually reached out to somebody who's considered his family to say, let them know. That's all.
I have the best example. If I go to a nightclub and like we're celebrating, right? And 2 people get killed that night at the nightclub. What's the headline?
Kevin Hart's party got shot.
2 people died at Kevin Hart's party, right? People may say, I'm never going to Kevin Hart's party again. Man, you can't go to Kevin Hart shit. Kevin Hart shit ain't safe. I ain't fucking with Kev. You heard what happened. I go, but I didn't fucking do it. I didn't even know the people that fucking was shooting. I didn't even know the 2 people that got killed. That's the nature of being the name. Your name is attached to things to make things bigger. What is my fucking... I didn't shoot the gun. Why am I arguing and why am I doing interviews after?
Why were they in your party with guns?
But who knows? I don't work the metal detectors. I'm not the security guys. The club does all that. I don't have those answers. You understand what I'm saying? Like the responsibility it starts to compile as if I'm the one in charge. We are not in charge of the dialogue from anybody on that stage.
If Tony calls you right now and says, man, Kev, man, I was out at the comedy club, man. And man, this dude, man, said he was George Floyd's brother, smacked the shit out of me.
You gotta deal with that.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Even
the consequences of the shit.
There you go.
Yeah, the George Floyd joke, it wasn't
even Charlemagne is trying to help him, to guide him, because I'm sure that Charlemagne has a great, deep respect for Kevin Hart. Even Charlemagne is trying just like, all we really want to hear is for you to say, all we want to hear from you is for you to say that it was distasteful, you don't support it, apologetic for who it's offended, even though you didn't say it. It happened at your shit. You was right there. You was laughing. That's all. Like, it's really not that. It's not that deep on Kevin's end. It's more so deep that it was even said by Tony Hinchcliffe. We got one more clip. That last clip was long as hell. We got one more clip where it's Kevin Hart says that there's not a person in his position doing more than him for their culture.
Listening to y'all talk, a lot of this is like people putting responsibility on y'all because y'all are black men doing really well in a space. How much of that responsibility Kevin or Char? How much Kevin? How much of the responsibility do you feel like you actually have to lean into because people are like, you're the gatekeeper because you're so big at what you're doing and you're also black for us.
Right. So I'm not going to say all that I do because I don't have to, right? There is not a person in my position doing more than me for their culture. I want to say that's a fact. In the space of comedy, there is not a person that has done more for comedians.
He said what he said. He said there's not, in comedy, there's not a person doing more for their community than Kevin Hart. His community being the black community, obviously. And I think that might be fair. I think that might be that's if that's not accurate, that's damn near close. As far as like correct me if I'm wrong, leave some names in the comments. But Kevin Hart and what he does for the black community in comedy, like he just had a Netflix special called Funny AF, where he went to New York, Chicago, LA, and it was like a tournament of comedians doing stand-up in order to get the top spot and get a Netflix special. Like I feel like a couple different one of them, there was those comedians, their lives have changed. They're set. Like their price just went up for them, and because of Kevin Hart. I don't know all the accolades, obviously, of what he does for comedians and black people in space, but I do know that he also puts people on in his movies and different things of that nature. He has mad like a Netflix deal where he was big. He had like 5, 6, 7 Netflix fucking movies, and he's putting people in those positions to be a part of those movies and whatnot. So I think that he's right as far as Tiffany Haddish, Regina Hall, the Plastic Cup Boys, working with Nick Cannon, and like I feel like that's even though that does sound quote unquote cocky, or that does sound like whatever you want to call it, I think that's a pretty fair statement. But I think off the top of my head, when I think of like in comedy and other communities, I think of like and the people that have done a lot for their community. Think of Adam Sandler. I know Adam Sandler did, like, he always put his people on, his family, his friends and family on in his movies. That's just the number one spot, like number one. I go to. I guess you could think Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry might be a good one too. In the comments they're saying Nick Cannon. They said in the comments they're saying the Wayans family. Obviously, the Wayans family is a good one. But still, there's not a whole bunch of names before Kevin Hart. Like, so it's like, if he's doesn't do the most for the black community in comedy, he's definitely one of, you know what I mean?
More for black comedians than Kevin Hart. I'm an example of fucking camaraderie, loyalty. If you look at my team, you see the same fucking guys that you've seen with me from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are doing very well in life. all of them have now put other people in positions around them to do better. I've created a fucking ecosystem of baton passing.
See, now the thing I think
is
missing here
in
this interview is humility.
I don't have to say the comics lives that I've changed.
I definitely understand where Kevin Hart is coming from, especially if you did so much, you built something massive, you're a massive star, you got it out the mud, and then you changed other people's lives around you. I understand why he's talking like that, but I think he could have had more humility when addressing the elephant in the room, so he didn't come across more of like, I've done so much for the Black community. What the fuck? What else do y'all want from me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I do understand it, but I think that if he could have delivered the message better.
Or the people that are now getting X, Y, and Z. I do it because I want to do it. I do it because I find joy in doing it. I do it because that is now my new responsibility. I got here, so it's my job to get other people here. And if you really go down that fucking tree of people that Kevin has reached out to, helped, been there for, created platforms, you go look, just go do your research.
But that's why stuff like this is important, these conversations, because, you know, and I say it all the time, when I know people, when I actually know what they do, and then you see certain headlines, you're like, come on, now that's some bullshit. But like, and you want the right narrative to be out there. You want, not even the narrative, you want the record to be out there, the truth to be out there. Kevin Hart is not a coon.
If you're not talking about me, then I'm doing something wrong, right? If the narrative attached to me in the new is coon or sellout or whatever the fuck it is, like I said, it doesn't reach me. So whatever it is, I'm unaware, because when I go out to do whatever it is I'm doing, it's love. Yeah. So if you go and you want to search, well, you're going to find everything you're searching for. You want to know who you are? Well, go look at your phone and go look at whatever is on your Explorer page, your search engine, because algorithms now are based off of you and your voice. So if you see a bunch of toxic shit on your phone, if you see a bunch of fights, you see a bunch of racial shit, you see a bunch of weird fucking shit, that's what you talk about on the regular. Mm-hmm. That's what your phone is picking up, and that's now how they're feeding information to the masses. Mm-hmm. It's called technology. Mm-hmm. It's the new age of technology. Mm-hmm. So if you want a real reaction as to what you are and how you operate, that's your proof of concept right there. I don't look for dumb shit. I don't have the time. So in this case, all right, great, we're having a conversation. I don't need to have this conversation because I know the factual side to myself and my responsibility and what the ins and outs are and were. So when you go on and everybody has an opinion and the culture and this motherfucker, he should have did this. Everybody got all the answers when they don't have the opportunity. Right. I'll say it again. Everybody has all the answers with no opportunity.
Again,
because you're not doing
like this is another example of he could have had more humility. Again, I do understand where he's coming from, because it is obviously easier to point out what it's definitely easier said. It's easier said than done, and it's easier speaking from the sidelines. Like if you're in the game, if you're LeBron, it's easier to say, make the shot, blah blah, dunk on him, whatever, when you're in the sidelines. So I do understand what he's saying, but oh my God, if he had more humility, it would be received so much more, like so much better by the masses, instead of people still looking at him like he's the asshole. And even he came out with a post saying like people are gonna talk about whatever, they're gonna say whatever. I should pull it up. So I think I got enough of this clip. It was, I gotta go to Kevin Hart. His caption stated, Caps just stated, Kevin Hart said, we are living in crazy times. Truth no longer matters, and it's pretty damn funny. Nobody does research. Everyone just assumes and runs with the narrative of clickbait, even when the proof is right in front of your face. Most will forever choose the lazy road of assumption, even when I clearly say that comics are comics and comics operate on their own. Nobody controls a comedian. Comedians do what they want and how they want. It's that simple. The rules to being a comedian are understood by all comedians. Enjoy your day. Live, laugh, love. P.S. New movie dropping this summer. Unfortunately, I get what he's saying, but there's not a whole lot of accountability in that. And you're not gonna, if you're clearly affected. You're clearly seeing what everyone's saying about you. You're clearly affected by what everyone's saying about you. So the best thing to do is to take accountability where you can and humility where you can. Just saying comedians can't be controlled. Nobody controls comedian. Comedians do what they want. Like, you're basically saying Tony Hinchcliffe can do whatever he wants. Tony Hinchcliffe can say whatever he wants. And that's not what the Black community wants to hear from you. The Black community wants to hear Kevin Hart say Tony Hinchcliffe was absolutely wrong. He was disrespectful. I'll never work with him again. Things of that nature. It's very, very simple. But this has been a solo dolo episode of the podcast, and it's honestly cool. It's comfortable. It's get to talk my shit, get to air it out, get to give my own analysis of things. But one thing I do want to highlight before we get out of here is I want to wait until Charlamagne pops up. Damn, got the camera on Kevin forever. Jesus. We might have fast forward through this thing. There we go. So one thing, on top of, obviously, besides the obvious, the one thing that I can easily tell, and I feel like most people can easily tell, that you could take away from this Kevin Hart interview is that Charlamagne the God is a much better interviewer than Joe Budden. Charlamagne the God, it's like, and you could see, this was a serious, important interview, and they didn't have DJ Envy, and they didn't have Just Hilarious. They had Charlamagne the God right next to Kev, and they had Lauren LaRosa, and both of them bodied it. Charlamagne the God, Lauren LaRosa is like the equivalent to Joe Budden and Mark Lamont Hill. I think Mark Lamont Hill and Lauren LaRosa are a better not equation. They correlate better. Like they even out. They're more equal. Okay, that's what I would mean to say. Lauren LaRosa and Mark Lamont Hill are more equal than Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God. I feel like Charlamagne the God is such a good interviewer because not only does he ask what people want to know, the questions that people want to know, sometimes he'll ask questions that nobody was even thinking, but people, once they hear it, they're like, oh my God, what is the answer to that? And this one, especially with Kevin Hart, he not only asks the question that everyone wanted to know, like questions that everyone wanted to know, not only addressed the elephant in the room, he was trying to guide Kevin to make Kevin look good. He was trying to make Kevin look good. He was like Charlamagne the God said, like, you just this one time, like, prove that like Kevin Hart's not a coon, and like this one time, like say Tony Hinchcliffe's an asshole. Like he was really gearing him, like steering him in the direction so that he would have the best results. And I think that's super commendable, especially as a black man to another black man that you like that you respect highly. Even with the Tyler situation in the Breakfast Club, or really Charlamagne, he was asking the question that even her agents or whatever said that was off the table, but it was the like, it's what the masses wanted to know. He wouldn't have been a great interviewer to not ask the questions that people want to know. And I feel like every time he is honest, he's raw, he's real, he's unapologetic. I feel like Joe Budden is also unapologetic with his takes, but sometimes his takes can be biased. And sometimes, most times, when he has guests on the show that are celebrity guests, music guests, artist guests, whatever, you never get the information you're looking to get. Like he had A$AP Rocky on. I don't even think they talked about Drake. I mean, I think they talked about Rihanna and their family, but not the Drake not conspiracy. Shots at Drake and Drake shots at him. And just like that's what people want to know when A$AP Rocky is on Joe Budden podcast. The baby. I think somebody mentioned the baby with an R&B girl or whatever. I don't know if it was Flip or Mark. But as soon as they said it, the baby was like, what? And then it was a wrap. Like, people want to know about the baby and Danny Lay. Like, how is that going now? Have y'all been able to co-parent? What went wrong? Things of that nature. Mad basic, just basic shit. I don't even know any more like super important guesses they've had recently, but I think it's the reason that Kevin Hart went to the Breakfast Club rather than Joe Budden podcast. It's just when you are going to have a serious sit down and interview and conversation, like Charlamagne the God is the one, especially in the black media. Charlamagne the God is just a better choice, unfortunately, because I really rock with Joe Budden. I really rock with the Joe Budden podcast. But I wish Joe Budden gave interviews as good as Charlamagne the God. Well, y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah, this is episode 75, I believe. Where just woke up. Episode 75 is in the books. We are 3/4 away to episode 100. I'm super happy about that. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next time.
Hey, if you guys like this video, make sure you check out these videos where we talk more about music, dating, and real life situations. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Make sure you check out these videos and make sure you subscribe. Peace.